Hindsight is always 2020. What's going on, guys? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to the Cozy Club. Today's DSA video I'm excited to talk about, as it's something that I've wanted to make a video on for a very long time. Now, I've made a video way back in the past, like way long ago, about the biggest mistakes to avoid while playing the game, but today's video is going to be about things that I wish I knew sooner when and while playing Disney Sorcerer's Arena. Listen, I started playing DSA about 2 years ago when global launch happened, and there's so many things that I wish I knew sooner. But there was mistakes that I wish I didn't make, characters I wish I didn't go after, and really, guys, a bunch of different things that I wish I put more importance towards, or just learn that aspect of the game. You see, DSA is a very complex game with a lot of different intricacies, and those of you that are not only new to gaming, if you're a casual Disney fan, or if you're just new to the hero collector genre of video gaming, there's a lot to learn at a very swift pace, because you don't want to make these mistakes. As we talk about all the time, your resources are very finite, because quite frankly, every decision you make really equals the time that you're putting in to play the game in the first place. All of this brings me to the point of today's video of the top 10 things that I wish I knew sooner playing DSA. Now, there's a million things that I've done wrong and a million things that I wish I would have known, but I tried to put a good top 10 list together for you guys and make sure that you guys aren't doing these things, or that you're aware of the different aspects of the game. Today's tips are going to vary all over, for free to play, pay to play, game mechanics, battle mechanics, things that you can do on an everyday basis. So before we begin, guys, if you want to go ahead and take a moment, click the red subscribe button if you haven't joined the Cozy Club today. We got a lot to cover. Let's begin. Alrighty, y'all. Now let's go ahead and jump right into these tips. Now, again, this is not the biggest mistakes I've made, and those points are much more extreme and important. So if you haven't, go ahead and take a second, either after this video or right now. Up above is an old video about things like when to get in and get the most amount of energy that you can, where to spend and when to spend, grand campaign tokens, things like that are very important to know. This video is going to be a little bit more of intermediate, advanced, and some beginner stuff as well, but overall, just things that I wish I knew sooner. Tip number 1. You want to farm characters that can cover a variety of uses. Now, listen, guys, within the game, you're going to be farming characters that are going to be for your main teams within PvP, the raids, and club expeditions, but you're going to have to go ahead and understand that you'll be farming characters sometimes just to unlock more powerful characters, or unlock different requirements to get Sorcerer Stones or other events down the line. Now, here's some great examples right in front of you. We've got someone like Captain Jack Sparrow. No one's going to be using him on their main team, or at least, you probably shouldn't. But either way, this is a great example of somebody that you need to take up. They're not going to be on the main team, but they're going to check a lot of boxes. He's an oceanic adventurer character in his stats, and Captain Jack Sparrow is going to allow you to get access to things like speed stones, the most important resource in the game, concerning your characters, club expeditions, and having adventurers for a main team, and overall different requirements like going through and getting Maui. Now, Moana is a much better example here. Moana is going to allow you to obviously have a princess tag and be a character that you can use on your main team. But these are two examples. One on the main team that you're going to definitely gear up and level up, and one just to go ahead and check a bunch of boxes. Demona and Anna are in the same exact field. Demona is going to be used to get Goliath. You're going to use her in club expeditions, in the Scrooge McDuck event, and you're going to be using her a ton overall within the game, rather than somebody like, I don't know, Big Bad Wolf, where you're not going to be using him really anywhere except that Scrooge money event. So you want to make sure that you're farming smart, right? Farm the characters you want to farm, but farm characters that are going to check off multiple boxes. And I think Anna's probably the best there, with the Frozen events and club expeditions and a kingdom character and a raid character. A lot of great uses for her and very easy to farm. Tip number 2, guys, and this is going to be prioritizing the gear on a certain character. Not prioritizing who to gear up, but the gear itself within said character. Now, as you guys know, gear pieces are going to go ahead and they're going to level up different attributes on your character. They're going to help defense, health, recovery, speed, crit chance, and a lot of other great stats. Now, we talk about it all the time, but certain stats are much better than others, obviously, like speed, crit power and, depending on the character's role, that adjoining stat. So with Ariel is a great example. She's all about healing other teammates. And so recovery is going to be the most important stat on Ariel. So I see this all the time, especially towards in-game players that make this mistake. You've got enough gear to go ahead and level or gear up one character or get one gear piece on that Kingdom character at T7, and you're picking a piece that isn't going to help you out that much. Instead, here on Ariel, I have all these different pieces that I can decide between. This one's offense and recovery. This one's health and recovery. This one's defense, health, and recovery. You've got all these, but we're going to be trying to focus on, this is a raid piece at T9, but we're going to focus on speed and recovery. If you can find a speed piece on the character you're trying to level up, you want to go ahead and obviously prioritize that piece over other pieces. Now, another great example for this, mine's at tier 9, so I can't really show you the example. But with Ian, guys, great example here. He has a crit power up gear piece. You definitely want to try to prioritize that over the other gear pieces because his primary use is to deal big damage within the game. If they're an offense character, you want to go ahead and prioritize offense stats. Defense, most likely defense, but even sometimes offense, depending on their role, like health pieces on Baymax to give them a little bit more survivability, and of course, speed on your supports. So to go ahead and wrap that in a bow, guys, go ahead and prioritize the gear pieces by the stats of that said character. Maximize how that's going to help out you and your team the most and what you're trying to get done. Tip number 3 is going to be prioritizing upgrading those characters with gold and gear and all the resources that you get within DSA. Gold is used everywhere within the game, and where to use it and how much you use is going to be pretty much all the importance you can have within the game. It's such a finite resource and it's so hard to get. So where to use your gold? Now, it's not a straightforward answer that you might think. Now, you have gearing and leveling up abilities and character levels, and literally everything in the game takes gold as a resource. So where to use it and how? Now, again, it varies, but here's some basic recommendations that I have for you. Now, primarily, the main use of gold is going to be going through your leveling system. You're going to be starring up your characters, which cost a boatload of gold, and then obviously equipping gear on your characters. Now, what is most important and where should you probably prioritize these resources? And I'm gonna say it depends on the character. Now, I'm gonna let you know by character power, you want to prioritize gear most likely over anything else, and then you want to go ahead and upgrade those stars and kind of keep that at a good balance with your character level. Great example, a Maleficent at a very low star level can still get the job done with high gear because she's going to be doing her job for the most part, controlling the battlefield. Or another great example here is someone like Miguel. Miguel has so much survivability under his belt. He has so many ways to not get hit. He can stay stealth. He has multiple lives. And really, it doesn't matter how much star level you have on him if you don't plan on using him within the raids. Now, star level matters for using them in the raids, but as far as PvP, you want to prioritize that gear more than really anything else. Now, level, you want to keep at a healthy balance, and by all means, you guys got to know by now, you're going to be spending your gold on your main 5, whether that's your main 5 on your best raid team, your main 5 on your best PvP team. That's where you want to be putting your gold most likely, because it's going to be best served there and you're going to get the most bang for your buck. And for the love of everything good and holy, do not spread your roster out. I do roster reviews on Twitch for Patreons. I see so many people spreading out their roster so thick because they like so many different characters, but they don't even have a main 5 established. So establish your main 5 and then go from there. Now, for the fourth thing that I wish I knew sooner is the character release cadence. Now, I complain all the time that I wish they released a way for us to know this so we don't have to track this like on a daily calendar. But luckily, others can do that for you. If you go check out something like my Discord, you can usually find the information in there. And what I mean by all of this is tracking when the character you are farming is going to be coming by next. You see, within DSA, there are so many characters like Mike Wazowski, Maui, you've got Gizmo Duck, and all of the legendaries that are coming on a pretty regular cycle and dependable cycle on a regular basis. And so it's best to know what you're farming for and when it's going to be coming by next. Now, I wish I knew this a whole lot sooner, but for you guys, if you're going after, let's say, Elsa, but her event just came by. Elsa's not coming back anytime soon, whereas Hercules might be coming back a little bit sooner, and it might just be better for you to finish off your Hercules farm than going after Elsa. You see, so you definitely want to see when things are coming by and prioritize a little bit of your farming by that standard or your overall farming goals. The majority of you guys that are playing this game have several different character requirements for the legendary, and you're just like, who do I go after next? Look at the release chart. And if you don't know or you're clueless, stop by the Discord or my Twitch stream for like 2 seconds. Ask, hey, which characters are probably coming out next? And someone can surely help you with what character is expected to come. Number 5 is a good one. I'm excited for this. And it is, you guys can absolutely prep for new characters that are coming out, even if you're free to play or a light spinner in the game, or heck, if you're a whale. Guys, they release content at a very dependable basis within DSA. It comes out or it's announced on Wednesday, usually to be released the next day on that Thursday. So great example, if you know a character is coming out, let's say, I don't know, Milo. We know Milo might come out, or he was announced on Wednesday. Hoard that energy like crazy. Maybe stop, the different projects you're doing for a day or two, or if we have a little bit more notice before that, stop your project, save your energy, and then you release the kraken of energy that you have saved up or you've purchased or whatever it might be. And this is the best way to get legendary characters, especially early. Typically with legendaries, they release a bunch of characters at one time. So saving up that energy and then just boom, hopping it all down for those characters is going to give you a much better shot to get a 5-star unlock as a free-to-play or even a later unlock as a whale and not having to spend as much. And yes, this goes for leaderboards as well. Sometimes we are aware of leaderboard events coming by like weeks in advance. And if you have your eye on someone like Tiana and you want to try to at least get, 30, even 50 shards of her, or a complete unlock, I don't know, you can go ahead and just save your energy. Like, just save it up, don't do any projects, and then when the leaderboard comes by, prepare to unleash the Kraken. Tip number 6 is a very unique mechanic to DSA, and I'm not going to go too much into it as I have a full video that breaks it down, but what I wish I knew sooner was all about character positioning and how attacks work in the game, like adjacent and flanking attacks. You see, we have all these different positions, and there's a lot to learn about the mechanics of battling in this game that is going to be used no matter what game mode you like. Raids, PvP, they all require knowledge of positioning. So do yourself a favor, study up on it, or again, go check out this video that we made, and it kind of breaks it down to the fullest amount so that you can best understand positioning. Number 7 is going to be a short and sweet one, but something that I really wish I was doing earlier, as it helps you organize the game a little bit better. And that is going to be utilizing the favorite section on your character roster. Now, you've got the ability to favorite a character by giving them a little red heart here and putting them in their own tab. Now, not only does this help you locate characters faster, but it helps you just prioritize who you're farming and why. Great example, I've got Yzma and Kronk here. That's because we've seen a little bit of a leak of the leaderboard that was on there, and we know they're going to be used in some capacity. So I'm working on gearing both of them up. And then I also have Aladdin for the club expeditions, and then Syndrome because he's got a great leadership that I might want to take advantage of in the raid. And so with this tip, guys, no matter if you're working on legendaries or you're working on characters altogether, go ahead, throw them in the favorite section. That way it's easy to put gear on them, level them up, or most importantly, if you don't have a lot of time to play the game, you go ahead and put the characters you're currently farming in here. You take out the ones you're not. You can click on them, go to their energy, farm the characters, do your dailies, and then move on to whatever you're doing in life. Number 8, understanding buffs and debuffs. Look, guys, if you're playing the game more than a little bit casually, I wish I did this earlier, and that is understand the plethora amount of buffs and debuffs that the game has within it. Right now, the meta for the last year and a half really rely about the different buffs on the field and the debuffs on the enemy team. And so you have to take a second. We've got videos on it all over this channel. There's graphics in my Discord. You have to learn the different buffs in the game and much more than just the symbol and, kind of loosely what it means. A wonderful example of this is something like haste, or as some of you guys might know, speed up, or even offense up. these in typical games don't like matter too much. You're like, okay, I hit a little bit harder. What's the big deal? Guys, haste and speed up gives your character 50% more speed on the battlefield. This is so important in things like the raid and definitely in PvP. You're spending all these resources on gear and gold and all this stuff to get your character powered up and more fast. And then you don't realize that if you just gave haste to that character through a support character, or if you gave an offense up before you did the big AoE on your team or the big, huge attack that you have, it's so much more worth it. And the payoff is massive. But some people don't read into these buffs or the debuffs and don't know what they do. So take a quick second, study up on the buffs and the debuffs. Future self is going to thank you along in your DSA journey. Number 9, making the most of that roster that you have. Look, everybody's roster is different in the game. Every single person has made different decisions on who to farm, who to prioritize, and who to take up. How do you make the most of what you have for you and for your club and for all the game modes that you're trying to do? Within the raids, what are the best teams you can do? Within PvP, what is the best absolute team you can make to climb the furthest, or the best defense that you can put on in these Sorcerers tournaments to earn more currency, guys? Understanding your roster and what you're lacking is going to help a ton. Whether you need a tank, whether you need more and buff up that support character, or whether you need to make your offense units much more prioritized to get the job done faster. There are so many different teams, and I can't make enough videos to cover the mass variety of rosters out there. But if you see a great raid team, look at your own roster, see who you can squeeze and replace in there, and try to get the same job done as what you're seeing other people accomplish. Because you might have a great replacement for that character just sitting in your roster. Again, if you need tips or advice on your roster, guys, come on over to the Discord, come stop by my Twitch stream. Would love to help you out. Or again, if you want to go the extra mile and support me as a creator and get a huge roster review out of it on who to farm and your best teams, you can go ahead and check out the Patreon levels down below. And the last thing that I wish I knew earlier when playing Disney Sorcerers Arena, and I preach about it all the time, is the importance of club and club communication. Now, the reality of it, guys, is the club communication within the games format is not great. And I know a lot of you guys don't want to download Discord or some other message talking to random people on the internet. However, I can't tell you enough how great the community in this game is, but even more so, how much you need to rely on these strangers on the internet that are going to be good friends to get great resources, great loot within the game, guys. There's more powers and numbers, both again in information, but also the core game modes within the game are all about clubs. So prioritize finding a club within the game, and a good one at that. You might be with a couple of people, or you might be with a lot of people that don't even play. Find a club that matches your play style so that you can get the best rewards out of it. All right, my friends. Well, thank you for sticking with me on the top 10 things that I wish I knew sooner while playing Disney Sorcerers Arena. And hopefully this helps you guys out, helps you a little bit more. And maybe you knew these, maybe you had no idea. Go ahead and I challenge you, comment down below and help someone else out with a tip maybe I didn't mention today. Someone that is new to play to the game. Usually they go to the comment section, help out somebody else, let them know a key tip that you've utilized, and let me know down below what tip has helped you the most that I've mentioned on today's video. My friends, have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it might be, and until next time, stay cozy.